This is Season 6, Episode 125 of the Stevens Transport Roadside Radio Podcast.
Sometimes the important thing is not the number of miles you've driven, but what's going on inside your head while driving. The Stevens Transport Roadside Radio Podcast will stimulate your mind and keep you company while on the road. Join us for education, motivation, and inspiration from wherever you may be in our nation. You'll hear roundtable discussions about important information that's impacting our industry. Plus, you'll learn more about new technology, equipment, driving opportunities, safety, and operations. Get driver success and fitness tips to keep you profitable, safe, healthy, as well as entertaining stories from the road. And don't you know, we've all got a few of those. We might be traveling in different directions, but we're all part of one driver community at the Stevens Transport Roadside Radio Podcast. With your host, trucker Tim Cicerelli.
Well, hello, friends, and happy holidays. Tim Cicerelli here, your host of the Stevens Transport Roadside Radio Podcast. This is episode 125. Hope you're having a wonderful day today, and we certainly appreciate you spending time with us and letting me sit shotgun with you while you're out there on the road. We will be spreading a little holiday cheer at the end of the episode today with a trucking song called Merry Trucking Christmas. That is from Tony Justice, and we hope you enjoy it. That's coming up in just a little bit. We also are going to keep you informed as to everything happening in the trucking industry and at Stevens Transport in particular with our December 2024 News Bulletin and a very special edition of the News Bulletin this month as we celebrate the career of an icon, a pillar, a legend at Stevens Transport, the retirement of Mr. Bob Nelson. Please make sure you stick around for that. We're also going to be tipping that big 10-gallon Stevens cap in appreciation for a job well done to our drivers of the month. In our driver spotlight, we'll be talking to a member of our Stevens Hall of Fame. Of course, that's the H-A-U-L of Fame. A driver who is in there 2 times by logging 2 million miles, and he's scratching on the door of 3 million miles. Looking forward to hearing some of the wisdom he can drop down to some of you younger drivers coming up in just a little bit. And for those of you who are thinking about joining this industry, becoming a driver, for Stevens Transport in particular, my friend Bob Newman, a marketing partner here at Stevens Transport, who's been with Stevens for quite some time, is going to explain the highway to excellence, career growth at Stevens Transport right now on our Stevens Roundtable. Stevens Transport Roadside Radio Podcast. You know, it's always fun to peek behind the curtain and talk to the people who make the magic happen, whether it's our driver managers helping our drivers or people inside the big headquarters here in Dallas. But in this case, we're going to peek behind the curtain of the company and the man that's responsible for everything you see on YouTube and basically any marketing pieces that represent Stevens Transport. This gentleman is behind it, and nothing but quality comes out of Paradigm Digital Group. We're talking to CMO Bob Newman. Bob, great to have you on the podcast finally, and great to see you again. It's been a little while.
Thanks, Tim. Long-time listener, first-time joiner.
That's the first time we've heard that, and I'm impressed, Bob. A long-time listener, long-time participant as well, and I'll tell you why real quick, Bob. I'm not sure if you know this, and if you're a listener, you do, but when we have those awesome driver spotlights that your company produces for the Stevens Transport YouTube channel, we like to cross-promote the YouTube channel, and we pull the audio off that video, and we slide it in, maybe every other episode, if not more, on the Stevens Transport Roadside Radio Podcast. Quality work, great job capturing the stories of the drivers, and that just scratches the surface of what Paradigm does for Stevens Transport. Listen, it has been a beautiful partnership in marriage with Stevens Transport and Paradigm for quite some time now. How long has it been, Bob?
A long time. In 1986, I met Mike Ritchie at a truck driving school in Denver, Colorado. And Mike says he doesn't even remember this, but he gave me an idea for a TV commercial back then. And it totally changed how we look at driver recruiting for truck driving schools and truck driver recruitment. And Mike's idea was tremendous. And fast forward, it was that idea that allowed us to open our company back in 1987. Stevens has always been a terrific partner for us, and we've always had great respect. I think in 2013, we began working directly on the marketing. So that meant we helped with driver recruitment. We built the last 2 websites or 3 websites. All of the video content. We produced over 500 videos for Stevens Transport during that period. And we're incredibly proud to be partners with them. I know I'm a little biased, but personally, I think Stevens is the best company for a new driver who's coming out of a CDL school to go to work for. And there's so many reasons for that.
And what's interesting about you saying that, Bob, is one might say, well, what does this, digital content creator, marketer how does he know? Well, you've just explained it right there. Doing this for as long as you have and producing over 500 videos, I'm kind of in the same boat with you. Is I'm not an employee of Stevens Transport, but when you're here around these people, it's like osmosis. You learn this industry, this beautiful industry, and the diversity that this industry offers for everybody, all the different opportunities, whether it's driver recruitment or something inside the building here. And you would almost think you're a driver, Bob, with your knowledge and the way the content is presented so accurately, so beautifully, and with your storytelling. And you've played a major role in this transportation sector here alongside Stevens Transport, but also in the education part of it. And so what is it about this industry that you think makes Paradigm and Stevens Transport such a lovely marriage?
Thanks. I appreciate all that. We've opened the company. Paradigm Digital Group has helped recruit our clients, help recruit, train, and start 400,000 new truck drivers in the country. Angela and Stevens Transport and their entire recruiting part, they're a big part of that, what they do. Go back to 86. I was at a truck driving school, and I remember meeting a person who told me, I'm going to school here. And back then it was 6 weeks. He said, after this, I'm going to make $400 a week. And my salary in advertising was $105 at the time.
Didn't you think, well, gosh, why don't I put my butt behind the wheel, right? I mean, I think that all the time.
Yeah. But what struck me was I've always believed that traditional college isn't right for everybody.
Absolutely.
It's not right for everyone. And what I loved about truck driving is that, even back then you realized trucks are colorblind. Trucks are gender indifferent. Trucks don't care who's driving it. They reward people who work hard. And I love the idea that somebody could get into a career for a small, really a small amount of money and jump right into the middle class and above. And, and when you think about what Stevens has done, they've helped tens of thousands, more than 25,000, maybe 40,000 people begin incredible careers where they can make 65, 75, 85. We have hundreds of drivers that make, $80,000 to $100,000 a year and own their businesses. Angela and her team have done that and changed the lives of so many people. And that's why we became passionate about this type of education and driver training in particular. It's the greatest ROI for education in the country. Nothing can replace this.
So you really just summed up the answer to my next question, Bob, and you alluded to it a little while ago. Just give us 3 to 5 reasons why every driver should want to join Stevens. Now, you just said it, but I'm going to ask you to drill down a little bit more. Because this podcast, Bob, is listed under the jobs and careers category on all podcast platforms. So we have people that are just searching for jobs with really no industry in mind to jump into. And that's what we're trying to do with this podcast. So why Stevens? You just said why become a truck driver, but drill down more on why Stevens Transport.
It's a great question. At Paradigm Digital Group, we work with many carriers in that all of our truck driving schools have lots of relationships. I truly believe that Stevens Transport is the best place for a new driver to start their career. So, as a new truck driver, you're learning a lot more than just driving. The reason Stevens is so good is that, first of all, they're going to give you the best equipment on the road. And as a new driver, you never want to have to worry about equipment or breakdowns or service. That's number one. So that you've taken that out of the equation by going to work for a great company with great equipment. The other things that make Stevens really good is that as a new driver, you've got to build your confidence. Stevens will give you miles lots and lots of miles to do that. And you're going to get those miles on the open road. You're not navigating alleys in New York City. You're not backing in and out of a grocery store delivery center. That's hard stuff. And those are great jobs. But with Stevens, it allows you to build your confidence. No company will help a driver get 50,000 miles of experience faster than we do. After that, and I think probably the most important thing is, Stevens Transport trains their own drivers. We have our own driving academies. But what that's done is created this culture of mentorship and training new drivers themselves. A lot of drivers come through our program, but then every month, 100 drivers out of truck driving schools. But what we know is that great new drivers begin with great training inside that cab. Stevens has so many great trainers. And, you talk to these drivers all the time. We talk to the million milers all the time. We've met hundreds of drivers. They can all share great stories about why they train drivers, why they enjoy training the new drivers, why they make them feel a part of this family. When you look at all of those things and combine that with the fact that you're going to make a great living, you have tremendous chance for advancement at Stevens. We have the director of recruiting as a former driver, Greg Softy, as well as the opportunity to own your own business, helping 10,000 people start their own businesses. That's what Stevens Transport has done. What other organization has done something like that? That's why I think we're the best place to begin your career. You can never go backwards in trucking. You never can get that first year back. And if you try to do something local and you get in over your head, that's the reason we have turnover. We have drivers that brand new have too much to navigate. With Stevens, they're going to make your first year transition successful. And that's why when I look at the driver awards every month, month after month, I always read through who they are. So many have come through our own training programs, and so many have been here 5, 10, 15 years. That's a testament to what we do as a trucking company.
It is indeed. And it is a blessing and a privilege to be able to interview these drivers, such a diverse community or family, I should say, here at Stevens Transport. And even though they all have different reasons why they came to Stevens, they're still very diverse in who they've become and how they talk to each other. And that's what I love about it. It's like kind of a melting pot really here at Stevens Transport. And the best time to really see that is during Driver Appreciation Week. It always fills my bucket to come here and see what Stevens has done and how they have changed the lives. And that's the common thread I'm finding through all of these interviews with these drivers. And no matter what age you are, like you said, the truck doesn't know color. The truck doesn't know gender. It doesn't really know age very much either as well. Somebody could, make a midlife change. For instance, one of our drivers in particular was retired from his job, made a lot of money, retired, living the life. And his daughter said, Dad, I want to go to college. And he said, well, that's going to cost a lot of money. Why don't I get another job? And I think he was in his 50s. And he came to Stevens Transport and has a whole new career that he loves. So, Bob, really, I don't think you could have stated the answers to these questions any better, any cleaner, any more concise. Bob, thank you very much for all you do for Stevens, and thank you for putting your heart and your soul into these stories that you're capturing. So, again, thank you for also letting me use your content on the podcast. It's a great synergistic relationship we have.
Tim's pleasure. I always enjoy listening to you. It's fun to be a part of it.
Yeah. All right. You have a great day, my friend. And folks, don't forget to go to that Stevens Transport YouTube channel, the website. Every piece of content you see, Paradigm has their finger on the pulse of it. So, Bob, great to see you, and we'll catch you soon. Stevens Transport Roadside Radio Podcast. We have a setup over here by the driver's lounge, and this is the perfect place to be because this way we can grab drivers that come in and out of the driver's lounge. I had to have this senior driver, David Hueckstaedt, on with us because this gentleman has some wisdom to drop down to you because, David, you've been with Stevens for quite some time, haven't you, sir?
22 years.
22 years, over 2 decades you've been with Stevens, but you started out not as a driver.
No, I started out as a driver.
But you were also redshirted for a while. Yeah, tell us about that experience.
Yeah. Started out went to the Stevens School and went out and drove for 2 years, trained, then came in to be a redshirt. And I was in the redshirt for 5 years, and that gets a long day out there on that hot concrete up on the hill. Everybody knows.
I'm sure. Tell us a little bit about your experience back then with what you can remember.
One of the things that I was very, very good at was backing, and I could teach backing.
What's your secret sauce to teaching backing?
Never turn right. Never turn right.
No matter what, if you have to go way out of the way, just keep going left, right?
I always, everybody always, it's like, yep, I love my NASCAR. Don't turn right.
Right.
But, everybody oversteers. Everybody oversteers. Even I do. Even after 22 years, I'm still oversteering. But our brain tells us, I got to turn that way.
Yeah.
But you can turn right. But I teach them, don't turn right, so they learn not to oversteer.
Gotcha.
And the thing is, I can teach them that way. But then
what you're getting here is the secret sauce. You're getting the nuggets of information you drivers need, or those thinking about becoming a driver for Stevens. There's your first lesson.
And then they come back and they get me in trouble saying, well, he told me never to turn right because I needed to turn right. And it's like, oh, Lord.
You can't win.
Yeah, I know.
Well, that was probably felt like 100 years ago to you, right? But you've been back on the road for quite some time. I do see that senior driver patch on your awesome Stevens shirt that you have there with your Texas patch. You got a bunch of patches on there. You got your American patch. What else is on your shirt over there?
Got my 2 million mile, almost got a 3 million.
You're almost there.
I got about another year and a half till I hit.
So we're in the presence of a Hall of Famer. And every time I come to Stevens, I like to walk through that hall and look at those names. Boy, they did a beautiful job down there, didn't they?
I still look at my name every time I go by there.
Do you shine it up and make it look pretty?
I basically look at the people that come in after me going, well, congratulations.
Yeah,
Congratulations.
That's great. Well, you're in there twice, and pretty soon, another year or so,
I'll be on one of the other plaques.
On the other plaques. What is your secret? We're talking secret sauce here to a long, lucrative career like you're in the middle of enjoying right now.
It's taking your time. And, when I first started driving, our brains, we teach ourselves almost to be in bad habits before we even drove a truck. Because we're sitting over there in that, in the recruiting area, and they're like, all right, you're going to be making 25 cents a mile. It was actually 22 cents a mile when I started.
You're showing your age here, David. You're showing your age.
But, I was happy to get a 25. I'm like, cool, a quarter every mile, but our brains, we start calculating how much money we're going to be able to make, because they're like, okay, if I drive this fast and I go this far, do this, and they're like, ooh, I can make this much money. But they don't realize we got traffic, we got weather, we got to wait at shippers, receivers, and fuel, and so we get our first check on, wait a minute, this is not what I was expecting it to do. So our brain said, well, I need to go faster, because the faster I go, the more miles I get. The more miles I get, the more money I make.
That's not very fuel efficient, though, right?
That's not how it really is. It's basically the faster I go, the quicker I get there, the longer I wait.
Oh, gotcha. I heard you say you got to hurry up to wait.
Right. Yeah. And the thing is I would do, I got on, a dedicated lane going from Springfield to Fort Worth all the time. Mm-hmm. So
nice.
It's your brain wants you to continue to go. It's just our human nature just to go. Yeah. And, I have a 68 mile an hour truck. So one time I went 68 or as fast as the speed limit would let me go from Springfield to Fort Worth at a loaded trailer. It took me 7 hours and 27 minutes. And so the next time I went up there, I got the same load going back the same way. I went 64 mile an hour max the entire way, going all the way down. It took me 7 hours and 31 minutes. Basically, I was saving myself about 7 minutes by going as fast as I could, but doing 64. Everybody else is doing 65 or above. Mm-hmm. I'm never having to change lanes. I'm never,
easier.
It is
more fuel efficient.
It is right. It's slowing down. That's why I said it's slowing down. Basically,
I've heard you got to slow down to speed up. You know what I mean?
Because every time you go faster, somebody cuts in front of you. You got to slow down, and then you're like, oh my gosh, and now you're working. And I always tell everybody, trucking is the easiest job in the world. We get paid to sit on our butt and listen to the radio
or podcasts, David.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's throw that in there too. Right.
And if you're going slower than everybody else and you're staying in the right lane, you're making easy money. You're not having to work as hard. And the thing is that, and it's a hard practice to get into, because from day one, even before we even drove trucks, cars, whatever, going to work, mm-hmm. It's like,
gotta get there.
Yeah. You live an hour away and you're like, oh my God, I'm late. So you're doing 10 miles over the speed limit the whole way. the max you're going to do is going to get there 10 more minutes earlier. And that's the max. And you're speeding and you might get pulled over and you're going to lose money on the deal. Speeding doesn't get you there. It just doesn't.
One of the great things about this podcast is not just to let people know what the culture is like at Stevens Transport, not just let people know what's happening at Stevens Transport, but moments like this where someone like you, a senior driver, spouting off some wisdom, right? Like, don't you wish there was someone like you? Maybe there was back when you were here, started 22 years ago.
I had a great trainer, very good trainer, and the thing is and plus not having accidents. That's the other thing. 22 years, not having an accident.
How about that?
And the thing is if you don't have accidents, you're not here on the yard. If you're not here on the yard, you're out making money. Sometimes it's self-inflicted, and the thing is 22 years, I've had no issues. It's like if I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing, if, following the rules, taking my time.
There's a system in place for a reason.
Picking up on time, delivering on time. You get consistent loads, you get consistent miles, you make money, you get home easier. It's
all the things they want.
And the thing is the longer that you're with Stevens with that type of record, you do get put on a dedicated-ish route, because you don't always get to stay on that same thing. Sometimes you got to veer a little bit. It's a pretty coveted
spot too to be on.
It's like I basically have a triangle. Yeah. It's kind of, I go here.
And you said you say it's an easy job. It's a hard job for a lot of people, but when you take that perspective, do what they tell you to do because it's a proven method. 44 years, you can't go wrong with this method, right? The empire that it's grown into. And you here half that time, 22 years, right? And this is what's worked for you, our new drivers, or maybe even some of our seasoned drivers that need to go, all right, I got to get back down to fundamentals and the basics again.
That is exactly the truth.
It's a great reminder. Well, David, thank you so much. And congratulations on 22 years. And pretty soon we'll be talking when you hit that 3 million.
That's right. Thank you.
Ever wondered what it's like to drive across the country and get paid to see America's breathtaking landscapes? Welcome to life as a team driver with Stevens Transport. The life of a trucker can sometimes feel solitary, but with team driving, you're never alone. Let's dive into how teaming up with another driver can transform your trucking career. So what exactly is team driving? Simply put, it's when two drivers share the responsibilities of operating the same truck. This allows for continuous travel and efficient delivery. Federal regulations require solo drivers to be off-duty for at least 10 consecutive hours after 11 hours of driving. Team driving, however, maximizes productivity by alternating driving shifts, cutting down on overall trip times. By working in shifts, team drivers can cover over 5,500 miles a week. That's more than double what solo drivers can achieve, leading to more priority loads and higher earnings. Efficiency is key. With two drivers, tasks like loading and unloading become quicker and easier. Plus, you'll earn more per mile. One of the greatest perks? You get to choose your driving partner, whether it's a close friend or a new acquaintance. Having a partner on the road makes those long hauls more enjoyable. And what about rest? Team drivers sleep in comfy bunk beds while the truck is moving, allowing for nearly non-stop travel without sacrificing sleep. Safety is another major advantage. With two drivers, there's an added layer of oversight to ensure committed safety. So, if you're ready to take your trucking career to the next level, consider team driving with Stevens Transport. It's the perfect blend of companionship, efficiency, and increased earnings. Explore the benefits of team driving and start your adventure today with Stevens Transport. Apply now and join a team that drives you to success.
Now more than ever, truck drivers are true American heroes. The men and women who literally keep America moving by delivering goods across the country. Being a professional driver is a rewarding, financially lucrative, long-term career filled with exciting adventures. A career where you'll never have to worry about job security. If you have your CDL and keep it up, it will sustain you for the long haul. You can see the country, serve your country, and provide a good life for your family. Whether you'd rather haul on a dedicated route or lane, or prefer working with one specific customer, if you want to own your business, we have a program that sets you up for success with all the tools and support you need. We've got opportunities in our intermodal rail division, and have programs to help military veterans transition into trucking careers. We have second generations of drivers whose parents have driven for Stevens, who then trained their children and are now truck drivers. Some are even small fleet owners. So, whatever your dream is, you can achieve it right here at Stevens. If you're looking for a company with a 40-plus year track record that's never had a layoff and just had the largest pay increase in company history for both new and experienced drivers, Stevens Transport has you covered. We offer the finest tools and technology and provide our drivers with the best state-of-the-art equipment on the market. Our infrastructure will support you both on and off the road. As a driver for Stevens, you become part of our family. Many companies throw the word family around. We're family-owned, family-run, and family-driven. Our 40-plus years of success is built on family. At Stevens, you're not just a number. Our drivers are part of our extended family, and we recognize and honor them every chance we get. If you want to be among the top income earners among professional drivers, if you want great benefits, if you want to have every type of driving opportunity at your fingertips, if you want to be part of a company that will stand behind you and ensure your success, come join the Stevens Transport family today and become an American hero. So, what are you waiting for? Take the first step toward your future career with the best trucking company in America. Become part of the Stevens Transport family today by calling our recruiting department at 1-800-333-8595 or apply online at stevenstransport.com.
Welcome back to the Stevens Transport Roadside Radio Podcast. My name is Tim Cicerelli, otherwise known as Trucker Tim, and thanks so much for letting me sit shotgun with you today. Hey, listen, if you haven't already done so, please subscribe, download, or follow this podcast from whichever podcast platform you're enjoying it from. We are everywhere. This podcast can be found on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, Audible, Amazon Music, you name it. If it's a podcast platform, the Stevens Transport Roadside Radio Podcast is there. Please hit that follow, subscribe, and download button. It will help us to continue to bring you all the information you need to know what's going on at Stevens Transport. And for those of you who might be looking for a new career in transportation, and we hope this podcast will help you become familiar with the culture at Stevens, because we would love to have you become a part of our team.
Welcome to Stevens Transport News Bulletin. We bring you the latest updates in the transportation industry. Celebrating Bob Nelson's remarkable career and retirement, a legacy of excellence at Stevens Transport. After more than 5 decades of dedicated service, Bob Nelson is retiring, leaving behind a legacy of unmatched professionalism and leadership. His journey with Steve Aaron, Stevens Foods, and Stevens Transport is not just a story of business success, but one of loyalty, vision, and hard work. Bob's remarkable career began over 50 years ago when he first joined forces with Steve Aaron. In 1972, on November 14th, he became the general manager of Stevens Foods, based in Paris, Texas, a well-established meat processing company, recognized as a leader in the protein industry. He had full responsibility for the operations, processing plants, overseeing everything from procurement and production to supply chain management. His influence extended far beyond day-to-day management as he played a critical role in the company's overall strategy and growth. His tough negotiating skills and keen eye for operational efficiency made him an integral part of the company's success. Steve Aaron called upon Bob with another challenge, and in 1979, he was asked to help build a world-class trucking and logistics company from the ground up, Stevens Transport. Despite the daunting challenges of navigating a highly competitive industry, their collective experience in logistics and supply chain management gave them a significant advantage. Understanding the intricacies of moving products to market and leveraging this knowledge helped lay the foundation for a revolutionary approach to North American transportation and logistics. His transition from Paris, Texas to Dallas marked the beginning of an era of growth and innovation at Stevens Transport. Over the next 4 decades, Bob's leadership would be instrumental in transforming Stevens Transport into a frontrunner in the transportation and logistics industry, setting standards for excellence that others have tried to emulate. His contributions to Stevens Transport are immeasurable, and his dedication to the company, employees, and customers have made him a cornerstone of the organization. Bob is incredibly accomplished and one of the most dependable, respectable professionals I have ever had the opportunity to work with, says Steve Aaron, founder and chairman of Stevens Transport. I feel incredibly fortunate and blessed to have had Bob by my side for 50 years. His passion for success and can-do attitude is second to none. In recognition of his extraordinary impact on Stevens Transport, the company honored him in 2022 with the first ever Stevens Transport Lifetime Achievement Award. During a celebration in his honor, he received an outpouring of love and admiration, marked by applause and cheers from his colleagues and peers, a fitting tribute to his incredible legacy. Bob's tireless efforts and contributions have helped countless men and women build careers at Stevens Transport, said Steve Aaron. Many people have been able to call this incredible company home due to his leadership and vision. We are all better because of him. Bob has been more than just a business partner. He has been a friend, a mentor, and a member of our family, says Steve. We are forever grateful for his unmatched dedication and loyalty. As he begins this new chapter in life, we celebrate his career and the indelible mark he's left on Stevens Transport and the lives of so many. Congratulations from all of us at Stevens Transport and the Aaron family. We thank you for your tireless efforts over the past 52 years. As we celebrate this festive season, we want to take a moment to extend our warmest wishes to you and your loved ones. We hope it's filled with love and laughter, family and friends during this joyous time of year. Stay informed and inspired by the stories that shape our industry. Thank you for joining us on this special edition of the Stevens Transport News Bulletin. From our family to yours, have a wonderful holiday season.
That, of course, is audio from a video you can find on the Stevens Transport YouTube channel. We will have a link to that video in the episode notes. And, of course, we mentioned the retirement of Stevens legend Bob Nelson in that December newsletter. We will have a very special segment next week on the Stevens Transport Roadside Radio podcast honoring the career of Mr. Bob Nelson. So hopefully you'll join us for that. Right now, how about we tip our big 10-gallon Stevens cap in appreciation for a job well done to our Stevens Transport November Drivers of the Month. What an accomplishment to Alberto Garcia, our company driver of the month. Our runner-up is company driver Daniel Matanen. Our independent contractor driver of the month is Jamal Hoskins, and our runner-up is Christopher Joseph. Our new driver of the month is Eucordia Nash, and Jakai Jones is the new driver of the month runner-up. Our team drivers of the month is Brian Molina Castillo and Jose Figueroa Urita. Jesus Ortega is our owner-operator of the month. Our trainer of the month is Joshua Balbit. Our trainer-driver of the month is Andy Richardson. Tiffany Tanisha Lamones is our dedicated driver of the month. And Richard Otts, our dedicated driver of the month runner-up. A big 10-gallon tip of the cap to all of our November drivers of the month. Thank you for a job well done. All right, what do you say we wrap up this episode with a Christmas trucking song, spreading some holiday cheer with Tony Justice. This is Merry Trucking Christmas on the Stevens Transport Roadside Radio Podcast.
On a cold Christmas Eve came a crash through the trees. That's how the story goes. Down the town it's been passed down through the years out here on the road. A mechanical malfunction between the reindeer and the sleigh. Left Santa rode down on the side of the road in front of the Flying J. Well, old school Tim was the first to jump in to see if he could lend a hand. The news was bad and no claws, only had one way out of this jam. So it was breaker 19, we got a 911 at mile marker 182. For wagons and flats, cab overs with stacks came sliding into the rescue. was a merry trucking Christmas, a convoy through the night. Instead of sleigh bells ringing and red nose gleaming, it was trading horns and chicken lights. Some of those reds did an East Coast swing, some a West Coast turn around, taking all the toys to the girls and boys and putting that hammer down. Well, it didn't take long for word to get out, and soon every truck in the land was grinding gear, spreading good cheer, all part of the miracle plan. In a sea of red suits doing what truckers do, they drove till they drove outside. They never stopped till the last toy was dropped, just in the same nick of time. It was a merry trucking Christmas, a convoy through the night. Instead of sleigh bells ringing and red nose gleaming, it was train horns and chicken lights. Some of those reds did an East Coast swing, some a West Coast turn around, taking all the toys to the girls and boys and putting that hammer down. Yeah, taking all the toys to the girls and boys and putting that hammer down. Trucking Christmas, y'all.
All right, there she is, episode 125 of the Stevens Transport Roadside Radio Podcast. Please remember to follow, subscribe, like, download, and share this podcast from whichever podcast platform you're enjoying it from, whether it be Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher Radio, Audible, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music. We are everywhere, and we would certainly appreciate it if you were to share this with someone else inside the industry so they too can learn about how awesome it is to work at Stevens Transport. My name is Tim Cicerelli, otherwise known as Trucker Tim, and until next time, please be safe out there, and thank you so much for listening to the Stevens Transport Roadside Radio Podcast.